few months ago, you might have seen this product on a bunch of YouTube videos. YouTubers, vloggers, videographers all got sent sort of pre-release versions of this thing. Of course, it is the SwitchPod. My buddy Stu ordered one of these SwitchPods, and it just arrived a few weeks ago, and I was able to snag it from him to do a quick review. Now, this is a very, very specific product. So if you're a vlogger and you want to film yourself, it's basically a handle. You hear that? Yeah, so it's a very specific product. It's a hold it out and film yourself tripod that also has 3 legs and sits on the ground. It's got nice little rubber pads on the bottom of the legs. It's very well built. I believe it's cast aluminum, it seems like. It's got a rubber pad where you would put your camera. This little thing on the bottom is actually to help you screw the tripod screw in. This is a stopper for the legs for when they come out. So everything always ends up in the same place every time. And overall, it's a great product for one specific purpose. And there's not a ton to say about it other than what other options are there out there other than this SwitchPod. So what I normally use, or what I used to use anyways, was I think what everybody uses was like a bendy tripod. This is like a cheap imitation of a GorillaPod. I've also used this little Manfrotto tripod, which actually works quite well too. It's got just a nice little easy ball head on it. I'll circle back to that in a sec. The tripod I generally use the most is this. This is a Manfrotto Pocket, the MP3BK. It's just a little tiny 3-legged tripod with a 1/4-20 screw on the bottom. Fits on your camera. It doesn't take up a lot of room. And if I have a wide enough lens, I just hold the camera in my hand like that. And it tends to work out well for me where I don't need the extension of something like this. But if you're shooting with a bit of a tighter lens, like say an 18mm or tighter than that on an APS-C sensor, or like a 28mm as opposed to a 24mm on a full frame camera, you might need that little bit of extra space between you and the camera. I shot some footage with this thing out when I was over in Nanaimo last weekend, so we'll have a look at that here. All right, what's happening, guys? It's Scott here out in cloudy Nanaimo. I sound like I'm some sort of phone sex operator because I've got a cold, but we're out here testing out this SwitchPod. We've got the XT20 on the SwitchPod with Rode Video Micro and an Andor ball head. This thing is the perfect tripod for people that want to film themselves like I'm doing right now. It is comfortable, it's light, the angle on it is perfect. It gives you a little bit of extra separation in your shots. It's fantastic. The only thing that I wish it came with was the ball head. So if you've got a ball head, you can put one on. If not, you can't really level the camera when you put it down. So I'll show you when I get down to the rocks here. I'll show you guys where I'm headed. This is, I don't know the name of this park actually. I just sort of randomly stumbled upon it. And here we are. Nanaimo is a beautiful, beautiful place. So I got the SwitchPod switched, put it down, and because I've got a ball head on here, I can tilt this up to film myself. There you go. I mean, there's not much to it. It's a tripod, so let's go back to the studio and I'll tell you more of what I think about it. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Just holding the camera in front of you and vlogging. Like, it's made for taking video of yourself, and that's pretty much it. And it's almost perfect for it. I say almost perfect because it's missing one key thing in my opinion, and that is a ball head. So when you put this down on the ground, the top of this is fixed. So whatever angle the ground is on, that's the angle that your camera is going to be on. So if you take something like this Joby ball head and you attach it to the top of your SwitchPod, you've got a movable top. So when you put this on the ground, you can actually get the angle you want on your camera. This would have been something very easy to implement on this SwitchPod from day one, and it probably would have bumped the price up a bit, I'm sure. I mean, I think a lot of us would have been okay with that. Another thing is if you get a slightly bigger ball head that has a Arca Swiss compatible plate, then you actually don't need to screw and unscrew your camera. You can just drop it in the plate, tighten the plate up, slide it all around, and then it's much easier and better, I think, if you were to put a ball head on this thing, if it had this plate on it. So something that was able to take this universal base plate. If SwitchPod ever makes a version 2, having a ball head I think is an absolute must, and having something that's compatible with these base plates is something that I really feel like if they want this to be the ultimate vlogging YouTube tripod, that's what they should do. But overall, it's a great product. It's a lot smaller in person. I feel like when you see it in these review videos, it looks fairly large, but it's, you know, it's pretty small. It's, you know, halfway up my forearm from my fingertips, so it's not that big. And because it's such a slim profile, it's easy to pack in a camera bag or a carry-on or whatever, and just bring with you wherever you're going, as opposed to like these big things. They never quite go straight again. They kind of have a thicker profile. Not a big fan. My only other, I'm going to do a video on this one day because, actually, you know what? It's a tripod. You get it. This one's great. This one's great. This one's great. They're great. Yeah, so the SwitchPod, I think, for the money, you can spend less money and get a similar thing with any of these other products, but if you're looking for the perfect vlogging setup, grab yourself a little ball head, get yourself a SwitchPod, and you'll be laughing. You can't really get much better than that setup. Like I said, SwitchPod 2 should come with a ball head. I think that was a real miss on this first version of the SwitchPod. So, real quick one today. Thanks for swinging by, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.